Hi everyone, welcome back to Posture Lab and Alignment Fundamentals. We are on episode 14 and this week we'll be covering Low Lunge or Anjanayasana. This is a basic yoga pose, very foundational. There's lots of different variations you can do with this, but we're just going to be going over the basics. You'll see this in a lot of my classes. Sometimes we add a twist, a side bend, or maybe a back bend with it. There's lots of options to customize it to make it a little bit more fun or different transitions. But we're just covering basic Anjanayasana low lunge position. So I want you to come, let's just start standing at the top of the mat. I will do this on both sides and try to give you different cues on each side. So standing at the top of your mat, we're going to begin in kind of a forward fold position. You're always welcome to use blocks. That can always be helpful when you step back into any sort of runner's lunge or even this low lunge position. Let's go ahead and take a big step back with the left foot so we'll meet in a runner's lunge. What that means is your shoulders over your wrists, my back left leg is super straight. So it's not a shorter stance, it's a nice long stance. Left leg really straight. I'm thinking about lifting my chest away from my right thigh, pulling my belly button up and in. And then really firming this back leg. So this is a runner's lunge position. From here, we'll drop the left knee and untuck the left toe. So the top of the foot is down. Now, you might even take your left foot, the back foot, a little bit out to the left. So think about pressing down kind of on an angle. That might help you feel more stable. You also might wiggle your right foot slightly out to the right to help you feel more stable. Keep your feet on railroad tracks. We don't want the knees and the feet on a tightrope. From here, you can start by bringing your hands onto your thighs. So I like to press down into the right thigh to kind of lift my torso away. I'll start to feel a stretch on my left hip flexor. The most important part is that my front knee is directly over my ankle, not forward and not back. If I'm back here, I'm not really getting that nice stretch in my left hip flexor. And if I'm too far forward, I'm overstretching. And we want to do joint stacking, so knee over ankle. That's just going to help protect your knee joint. Now, I know there's lots of different theories about knees over ankles or not over ankles, but for the purpose of this pose, you want your front knee over your ankle. In your front foot, try not to grip with your toes. Press down more through your heel and a little bit through the ball of your foot. Now I'm going to reach my arms up. As I do this, a lot of people want to dump into their low back. So I'm going to think about pulling your ribs in slightly. You are melting your hips forward, but you're still really using your core. Pull your belly button back towards your spine and relax your shoulders. You might like to press your palms together and look up. You'll feel more sensation through your left hip flexor. Firm your left glute for stability and think about squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. So almost like this right hip is coming a little bit back and the left hip a little bit forward, squeezing towards the center. Let's go ahead and release. Put the hands down, tuck your left toes, and step your left foot up to meet your right foot. We'll do this on the other side. Take a big step back with your right foot. Find your runner's lunge. So my back leg nice and straight. This is going to help make sure I have the correct distance for my low lunge. Drop your right knee. Your left knee should already be over your left ankle if you have your correct runner's lunge position. Untuck your right toes, press the top of the foot down. We'll start with the hands onto the thighs. Melt your hips forward, but also press into your hands to lift your sternum up. Firm your right glute for stability. If you feel really wobbly, left foot to the left and right foot a little to the right might help a bit. You want to feel like your inner thighs are spiraling towards the midline. So right inner thighs kind of going back behind you. Pull your belly button up and in, and then reach your arms up. Lengthen through your waist without shrugging the shoulders up to the ears. So relax your shoulders, firm your right glute, melt your hips forward as you stamp into your left heel. Feel like your left hip is coming back and your right hip is going a little forward for 3. Maybe press your palms together, 2. And 1. Go ahead and put your hands down. Now let's step back to downward facing dog and we'll try to do this from there. From down dog, the setup is pretty similar. However, some people might find it more difficult to step all the way forward. So right foot will step forward. Now what I don't want you to do is just step halfway and keep it there. If you need to take a second step, go ahead and do that, or use your right hand to move your right foot up. You really want your right knee over your ankle to get the good setup for low lunge. From there, you'll drop your left knee, untuck your toes, inhale, reach both arms up as you melt your hips forward. Some things we might do here are like cactus arm back bend, We might take a side stretch, grab the left wrist and lean over to the right. We might even go for a twist with the left hand to the right knee and twist. There's lots of different options. Just make sure you're not lunging too far forward and overextending. You really want to find that balance between strength and ease where you're working at the pose, but you're still enjoying that nice stretch on your left hip flexor. Let's put the hands on the mat and press it back to downward facing dog for the other side. Step your left foot forward. Remember, you can always take your left hand and grab your left foot to maneuver it forward. You want your left knee over your ankle. Drop your back knee. Untuck your toes. Press the top of your foot down like you're trying to minimize the space between your ankle and the mat, and then reach your arms up. Feel the balance of melting into it and engagement. Lift up through your waist, relax your shoulders, and then put your hands down. We'll step back to downward facing dog. All right, you can drop down to your knees or take a comfortable seat. Low lunge is a great stretch on your hip flexor. It's great to warm up before you do a workout, especially running. Doing some shifting between low lunge and half splits is a really nice warm up as well. The most important things are squeezing of the inner thighs towards each other. Think about like a scissor motion, trying to get everything towards the midline, not dumping into the low back, finding a pull of the belly button back, a reach up through the waist but relax of the shoulders, and then always noticing your toes and make sure they're not really gripping into the mat. Use more the heel and then the big toe mound of your foot to press down. If you have any other tips or tricks for Anjaneyasana, go ahead and leave those in the comments. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.